Greetings. So, when I'm not driving truck, I live in a van, and I'm going to tell you why. If you want to save a lot of money, that's a good way to live, even if you don't choose to drive truck. Because you can search for that winning lotto ticket or the wealth from some invention, but the quickest way to get rich, in my opinion, the gold mine that you'll find is the one you save, the one you make for yourself. So, let's get into this. This is OTR, Ogre, and Corgi, and hey, if you like what I'm doing, like, link, and subscribe, comment if you so choose, share with your friends. Look, I can't emphasize enough that when it comes down to the first thing we got to talk about in this series is how to pick a town. Okay, so look, once you've decided to live in a van, and we'll go over vans and other things in another video, because a lot of what you have, it depends on your tactics. When you've reduced your cost of living down to damn near nothing, it's just gas, insurance, laundromat, you know, the basics. What you have to take into consideration is at that point you have so little cost that you only have more advantage if you pick. Like, you got to pick a town that doesn't have too much crime or problems or crazy police stuff. You don't want to live in a place that has a bunch of Karens. You know, Kens and Karens that are like, oh my God, there's a vehicle over there. So those ones are a pain in the ass. But you find a place that has a decent income. Because you could pick to choose to live in a state that pays you $35 to $40, $50,000 a year. Or you could pick a place that pays you $70, $80, $90, $100,000 a year. So if you can live comfortably in the place that pays you more, and let's just say you have a boss who's cool if you live in the yard. You know, you got, like, say you drive truck or you work at a warehouse, and they're like, yeah, just park over in the corner, don't make a mess, and don't cause any trouble, and you're cool. Like, and you make sure to be a little generous of your time, be charitable too, because you want to make inroads in the world. You know, it's like what HT Logistics said when he's saying, you know, in order to receive, you can't receive anything with a balled fist. You want to receive something, you have to have open hands. But then also to receive, you have to be willing to give. So open hands that give are also the ones that receive. So in the same way, take up that mentality when it comes to charity. Because people want to help people that look like they're willing to help people. Like, don't just give charity just necessarily to anybody, but pick charities, I hate to say this, but sort of strategically. If the local city groups or councils or whatever gatherings are trying to get help, they need manpower and volunteers to help with something, be that person. You got a little extra time. This is part of the reason I'll tell you that I think the greediest people I've ever met are the poor, not the rich, because here's the thing, the poor have nearly endless time to improve themselves generally, and they don't do anything with it. They don't try to network, they don't try to work to improve themselves. They don't give anything of themselves, so they can't receive. They're just looking for what they can generally get. Not everybody, but a lot of them. Like, you're on Section 8, you're living off the money, you're getting the welfare check. You know, and like, you sit there and tell me that some guy that never did anything that made you know, $1 million is somehow the bad guy, and yet you're taking from people. You're taking from people, and you're not willing to give anything. And so that's part of the reason I think the poor are actually the greediest people I've ever seen. They have options and they don't bother to use it. They have time and they piss it away. But as for you, individual who's working a decent job but saving money living in the van, when you give a little bit of your time to certain groups or people, they end up looking at you and they know, they see that van, they see you, they know you're a good person. They're like, hey, how you doing? Opportunities open up because you've given yourself to help their opportunities, all right? And so you got to pick your towns wisely. Is this town going somewhere? Is this town going downhill? Is there a lot of competition? Because a mill, you get some, I grew up in the Northwest and we had factories and mills that shut down and things went down. I mean, it went in the 90s, things went downhill heavily. It was going kind of bad in the late 80s, but by the 90s, mid-90s, things went really downhill. And it stayed that way still to this day. Things have got better, but it's so stagnant and that it's not worth it. And that's because you're going to have, everybody's going to have, when it comes to hiring and getting a job, you're going to have a lot of people all applying for the same thing. And so they can lower your wages in that respect. You got to look out for that. So you want to be in a town that has some action, has something going on, you know, it's vibrant. That way, you know, you can be the most living, vibrant, energetic, perfect thing. And it won't fucking matter because you're surrounded by filth. But people don't go anywhere, a bunch of mud walkers. No offense to people, but that's the truth about it. And so that once these people get in the mindset, it's like, it's me, then what they'll do is their relatives are like, oh, hey, I'm going to hire my relative. I know he's an idiot. I know he's this. Like, let's say their idiot relative already had a job. Well, then they'd probably be looking for someone better. Just being real. So you want to go to places that actually have opportunity and are paying. And here's the other thing. It doesn't matter whether you're a trucker, whether you're any sort of thing. If you're a trade, you want to get a trade that people not only it's either they want and can't live without, or they need and literally can't live without. That's why trucking's good. That's why the trades are good. And then keep that cost of living so low by living in a vehicle that you have so much high profit in record time. Part of the reason I say trucking is a good one, like OTR, is that you're not there all the time. So the competition for park spots and problems like that, you already got a guaranteed park spot at the yard. That's most of it. And then people say, well, what about women? Well, some women are cool with it, some are not. Honestly, if you can find a woman, the diamond in the rough, the needle in a haystack, who's cool with being a van chick, and she's also cool with getting her CDL as well, you've got a dream team there. You could buy a truck, and you two would, building castles in the sky. Let me put it that way. Seriously, you'd be able to accomplish miracles. Just she got to understand, she can't be pregnant. You got to wait it out, maybe wait a little bit, and then you guys can pay cash for your house easily. Like within a year or two, you'd have a house outright, easy, and then you've got the money, you got the power. Because here's the thing: you don't have to buy a house in the town you work in. You could work for a few years in your town, maybe say from the part you get you're 21 up to 25 or 6. And then you guys have saved enough money. You go out to some farm town in the middle of nowhere, and you can buy a cheap house that you can do a rebuild on. Maybe even buy a few investment properties in the area, and then have a real estate business doing rentals. And you've already got a legacy before you're even fucking 30. As a single guy, same thing. It's not hard. If you own your own truck, same gig. And so even if you're just a tradesman, if you have people that are really, you have be it a team like a husband, wife, or I don't care, maybe you're two gay dudes or lesbians, and you guys really have your act together, you can build that dream, that dynamic duo, and save like a god just because you've reduced your cost of living. So it's up to you, but picking the town matters a lot. Does the town have the amenities? Do you have the showers in the local areas? Do you have your Planet Fitnesses? Do you have decent opportunities? Is there good park spots around? Do you have enough good park spots? Are there drug problems? Like most drug addicts, they'll keep away. They know better because they don't want to deal with another clawed creature. But some people are scragglers. You got to look out for them. They'll do some wild shit. They'll try to break into someone's vehicle and shit. And that's why that's part of the reason. One of my favorite. I'm just gonna leave it with this. Back in the day, when I lived in the Northwest, one of my favorite park spots, which most people would never think this, on Sunday afternoons, so I think it was from Friday night sometime to Sunday evening, they would have 24-hour parking next to these places. But it was because nobody was there, because there's no business in the courthouse. The police station was next door to the courthouse. I would park my van right next to the police station. People are like, don't you feel a little weird about that? Aren't you worried about what they're going to do? No, what law am I breaking? Oh, really? What law am I breaking? So I could leave my vehicle parked right there all fucking day. And I was like, nope, ain't shit going to happen. There ain't a scraggler alive that's going to try that. They know there's cameras around. And they know that, even if they hate my ass, they ain't going to do that. They ain't not going to do that. And that's the thing about it. That is the honest to God thing about it. You got to pick your towns well. You got to know your park spots, and every night move around because you don't want people to know where you're at. And make the money, save the money, live cheap. We're going to talk about cooking and all the other stuff in some more videos. But this is just part 1, how to live in a van, how to win a game. So, God, you got to love Kirk. Anyways, this is OTR Ogre. Anyway, OTR Ogre and Corgi, and yeah, if you like what I'm doing, like, link, and subscribe. Comment if you so choose. Y'all have a good one.